We usually associate the word monster with mythical beasts, apex predators, or movie villains. The truth is, real monsters don't have claws, sharp teeth, or superpowers. No, in fact, real monsters live in your neighborhood and are upstanding citizens. A wolf in sheep's clothing. So beware, for behind closed doors lies their true nature. Their darkest desires and insatiable taste for decrepitude can only be satisfied once they gorge on the blood of their prey. These are real monsters.
This panel finds that the death penalty is appropriate, should be, and is hereby given for each of the 4 murders by the defendant.
On any given day, we may encounter dozens, if not hundreds, of strangers. Have you ever stopped to think about how many of these people have committed murder? The reality is that we are all capable of committing murder given the right circumstances. However, although most of us would take a life out of necessity, it can be argued that some are born to kill. Such is the case of Nikko Allen Jenkins. Nikko Allen Jenkins was born on September 16, 1986, in Omaha, Nebraska. He grew up in a troubled home and spent most of his youth in the criminal justice system. At the age of 7, he brought a .25 caliber handgun to his elementary school. At age 11, Jenkins was kicked out of a group home for repetitive violence. By the age of 13, he committed multiple assaults, including one knife assault. In 2003, Jenkins was found guilty of 2 cases of grand theft auto. He was sentenced to 21 years in prison. However, incarceration did nothing to stop his violent tendencies. While in prison, he was charged twice for his part in a 2006 prison riot, as well as for assaulting a prison guard. Due to a loophole in the American justice system, Nikko Allen Jenkins was released after serving only 10.5 years of the 21-year sentence he was given for the carjackings and the assaults. With his release from prison, the streets are no longer safe. There was now a monster on the loose, prowling amongst the general population, ready for the kill. In the early morning of August 11, 2013, a patrol officer discovered 2 bodies in a white Ford pickup truck parked near a swimming pool located in Spring Lake Park. Both victims had been shot in the head, their pockets turned inside out. They would later be identified as Juan Uribe Peña and George C. Cajiga Ruiz. On the surface, it appeared as though Juan and George were the victims of a random robbery. It would later be found that this was all a plot orchestrated by Nikko Allen Jenkins. 8 days later, around 7 a.m., the body of Curtis Bradford was found outside a detached garage at a home located on 18th and Clark Streets by a man returning home from a night shift at a convenience store. Investigators arrived to find 2 bullet wounds on Bradford's back. It was later revealed that Bradford and Jenkins had posted for a Facebook photo the day before. Bradford would be the only victim familiar to Jenkins. On August 21st, around 2 a.m., a deputy sheriff responded to a shots fired call. He arrived at the scene to find a body lying with multiple bullet wounds. The body would later be identified as Andrea Kruger. Kruger was returning home after a night shift at a local bar where she worked as a bartender. Police followed up at Andrea's place of work, where they found surveillance video of her closing up the bar that fateful night. A few hours later, Kruger's SUV was found abandoned 12 miles away in an alley located at 43rd and Charles Street. It was apparent that someone tried to set the vehicle ablaze in an attempt to destroy evidence. However, they were unsuccessful and abandoned the vehicle. On August 30th, 2013, Jenkins was arrested on unrelated charges. By this point in time, the police had amassed a series of incriminating evidence against Nikko, evidence that suggested his involvement in the spree murders that occurred only weeks prior to his arrest. During the course of their investigation, police uncovered surveillance of a known associate of Jenkins, in which they are seen purchasing the same ammunition that was used during the murders. Additional footage was found in which Kruger's SUV is seen being driven down to the spot where it was later abandoned. Armed with the evidence, the police then interrogated Jenkins. 8 hours later, Jenkins then confessed to the murders of Juan Uribe Peña, George C. Cajiga Ruiz, Curtis Bradford, and Andrea Kruger. On November 3, 2013, Jenkins pleaded guilty to all counts of the 4 slayings. Jenkins claimed that his problems were caused by mental illness and that he had schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, and obsessive-compulsive disorder. The judge ordered a psychiatric evaluation, and the psychiatrist concluded that Jenkins had antisocial personality disorder and was faking psychotic symptoms. After being declared competent to stand trial, the proceedings against Jenkins commenced. In May 2017, Jenkins was sentenced to death by a 3-judge panel. He was also sentenced to 450 years in prison on weapon charges connected with the murders.